In Search of Great Stories presents
D-R-A-M-A drama.
Spoil the hell out of this movie.
What happened to the tow truck, Winston?
There's a lot of meta here. Let's get to watching great movies.
Welcome to Movielover22.
Okay, you walking IMDb wellsprings, here's something that really grinds my gears. Legacy sequels. What's good? What's interesting? And definitely what sucks. We're gonna be getting into it, and I'm probably gonna yell at some point. What are legacy sequels? Well, for the sake of this episode, they're new entries to an established franchise 8 years or longer after the previous entry. A well-known success story would be Top Gun Maverick. I don't even need to defend it or say why it was good. I haven't met anyone who disliked this movie. They may not have loved it, but no one is like, yeah, fuck that movie. The issue for me is when a trailer releases for an upcoming release and I see people lose their minds at like, oh wow, I loved Twister. I can't wait to see this brand new part of that story. And my immediate response is, this movie looks like shit. People are loving that there's a new Freaky Friday coming out, as if it's going to be good. It won't be good. We all know it, deep down. What people are actually excited about is being able to feel like a little kid again, enjoying Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis having to act like each other, and Jamie Lee yelling, "Oh, I'm like the Crypt Keeper." That's it. It won't even matter if the new one is bad, they'll love it anyway. It's a shame. It's basically a sin in my mind. People have an issue equating the enjoyment of a movie to mean the movie is actually good. They can't differentiate. Bad movies can be fun. There are bad movies that I like, but we should be able to say, I liked it, instead of, it was a good movie. See the difference? Of course you do. You're a smarty. Now, this episode should come with an asterisk. I have to admit that I haven't seen all of these movies because I value my movie time, and I make an effort to not sit through movies I think might be bad. But people I trust with their taste in film have confirmed for me that the bad movies here that I haven't seen are actually bad. I do believe we should all be making an effort to not watch bad movies, just like we make efforts to not read bad books and listen to bad music. My goal, of course, is not to make you feel bad if you like these movies. That's never my goal. The entire point of this podcast is to highlight movies that I think are great and to paint them in a way that you might want to watch them too, and to maybe start conversations around these movies and their themes and ideas. You're allowed to like and dislike every single movie on this list. Where I 100% draw the line is when you try to tell me a bad movie is great. The Fast and Furious movies aren't capital G great movies, but some of them are fun, and some are legitimately good. Here are some examples of legacy movies that are absolute garbage, and for the most part have moved on into obscurity because no one cares about them because they eventually realized they weren't good. Ghostbusters 2016. If the anchor of your idea is, hey, remember that one thing that was all dudes? Let's make this one all women. Then you're missing something. Usually creativity and art. Like remaking Holes with a female cast. Why do we need this? Here's a thought. Disney does not give a fuck about you. It wants your money real bad, and it's gonna pull every possible teat until it gets it. Until we see a trailer that looks promising, hold out hope, and even then. Please, for example, watch the 28 Years Later trailer. Please be good. Please. In Ghostbusters' defense, I've heard some people say that the latest two movies were decent. Still, I won't be watching them because I think they look like cookie-cutter Hollywood bullshit. Kinda like Jurassic World, a safe addition to the Jurassic universe, except this time it's barely watchable. And don't even get me started on that little stupid short film Universal put out between movies 2 and 3 that actually wanted me to think a dinosaur would eat a human baby. Fake tension, bad scripts, uninteresting characters with zero chemistry, bland special effects, the list goes fucking on. That being said, one of my best friends took me on Velocicoaster, and it is so much fun. Matrix Resurrection. Because the second and third movies weren't bad enough, we felt we needed to return to further tarnish the reputation of one of the best action movies ever made. Space Jam. Some of these I don't even need to say anything about. Gladiator 2. 2 words. Shark Battle. Live Free or Die Hard, because what we needed was to forget all the stuff that made the first 3 good in the first place. Bad Boys. People loved the second one, but then we had a third and a fourth, and no one really cares. Twisters. Not really related to the original, which I honestly didn't like, so this one really doesn't matter in any way, shape, or form. Just another movie the world has already forgotten about. Independence Day 2. Not even Will Smith watched this movie. Probably. Beetlejuice. I avoided this one hardcore because I didn't care about the original, I don't like Tim Burton, and I've seen nothing from anyone about this movie since it came out, so it apparently didn't make an impact. Toy Story 3. Just stop fucking with my childhood. Also, it's almost an exact narrative remake of Toy Story 2. Disagree? I bet the biggest one you disagree with is Jurassic World, and probably Toy Story. Look, for Jurassic World, none of them should have been made. 3 was clearly not a good movie, but then Universal decided to churn out some bullshit, just like Disney and Paramount and Sony. Here's some movies that did not need to be made, but they have some good qualities. We'll call these movies watchable. Halloween, both the 2007 and the 2020 trilogy. To be fair, I have watched 0 of the 2020 trilogy. So for me, it's about the Rob Zombie ones. They're not necessarily bad, but in no universe did it need to be made. And if I could keep only one of the Halloween movies of any of them, honestly, I would take Season of the Witch. That's my favorite one. Tron Legacy. Literally titled Legacy. And at this point in time, the only thing I remember thinking about it was that it was okay. I don't remember a single thing about this movie. I don't remember who was in it. Incredibles 2. I love The Incredibles, and I like the second one. But it's not the first one, and it has no hope of living up. Blade Runner 2049. Unnecessary, but I know people that liked it. Prometheus. This one is close to home for me because I love Alien, but this isn't a very good movie outside of the visual effects, Michael Fassbender acting his ass off, and some of the drama in the second act of the movie is insane. Star Wars: The Force Awakens. This one is basically a remake of A New Hope, and even before then, I can't stand that Disney decided to create more entries in the Star Wars universe. The whole thing is so unnecessary. Men in Black 3. This one is positive. It is legitimately surprising this movie is as entertaining as it is. And Evil Dead Rise, an okay attempt at a classic horror franchise with 1 or 2 decent things, but ultimately is a movie I will never watch again. And now, the cream of the crop. The ones that people love and adore by just about anyone who sees them. Top Gun Maverick is the obvious first choice, like I said at the start of the episode. Evil Dead 2013. Fede Alvarez, and I'm sorry because I can just about guarantee I didn't say that right, but this man knows his way around horror, and this movie is so fucking good at navigating what made the original so good and creating an atmosphere that can remind me of the original movie without trying to be an exact carbon copy and actually sets itself apart. T2 Trainspotting. Admittedly, I haven't seen this because I haven't seen Danny Boyle's original entry. It is on my list, and I've heard both movies are terrific. Mad Max Fury Road, and also Furiosa, because that also came out way later. Both very different movies, and both very good in their own right. Again, this entire market is founded on the idea of, hey, remember that thing you liked when you were a kid? Well, here's another one. And it's not as good as the one when you were a kid, but it won't matter because you're going to give us money for your nostalgia. It's insane that we as Americans keep on giving into this. It's why we have a Lion King remake and a Mufasa prequel, because these companies think you're fucking stupid and will talk down to you because you'll give them money anyway. Update: the Mufasa prequel tanked in theaters. Will Disney learn that lesson? Not a chance. Also, we have to mention how outright stupid it is that Disney refers to these movies as live-action remakes when they're literally just hyper-realistic CGI. And it's also the biggest downfall of Jon Favreau as a creative director. It 100% ruined his reputation in my mind. Watch any of the behind-the-scenes stuff with him. It's incredibly embarrassing to see the ideas he pushed through and reasons for different creative choices. It's impossible to tell what ideas were Disney and which ones were his. It's awful. I saw a Quentin Tarantino quote when he was asked if he'd be seeing Dune Part 2, and he said, "I don't need to see these stories, I've already seen them." I really like this quote, because in many cases, I have already seen these stories, and I don't need to see someone else's take on them. I don't want to either. I don't want a remake of American Psycho, and you know what? I'll say it, you don't want it either. The first one is fucking perfect and absurd and flawless. I'll defend that movie so hard, you don't even know. Tarantino especially has an interesting perspective here because he's old enough to have seen most of the original movies that we've been getting remakes and estranged sequels for. Though, to be fair, he probably has equal appreciation for both Who Goes There and The Thing. He probably prefers The Thing, though, like everybody else. I read a little rebuttal to Tarantino's view of, I don't need to see this story again, and it was a very harsh response of, ban all remakes? Are you insane? I thought Tarantino was a cinephile. You know what? Maybe Tarantino just values his time. Yeah, David Lynch's Dune and Denis Villeneuve's Dune are going to be incredibly different movies, but that doesn't mean I'm going to rush out to see either of them. The film, as an idea, needs to grab me before I sit down and watch it, and Tarantino is at an age where he's seen countless films, countless upon countless, and I'm tired of people talking about remakes. I'm tired of hearing about them. Tell me something original, please. I don't want a 10th Star Wars movie. I want something I've never seen before. Even Mission Impossible understands this, which is why each entry finds a new way to insert fun things into their schlock. I unironically love the Mission Impossible movies. I think Fallout is one of the best action movies ever made. But what's the difference between the good and the bad and the fucking fantastic? I think it's difficult to put your finger on just what it is. Studio interference, writing, acting, performances, or intention. See, I don't care for the original Top Gun, but I watched it right before I saw Maverick for the first time. I saw both of them, for the first time the same day, basically. And I prefer Maverick. It has, in my mind, what can be referred to as the sauce. That factor that just works, and it legitimately makes the movie better. Tom Cruise, for one, knows what makes a movie good. He doesn't constantly or consistently have great movies, or else I'd be talking about The Mummy or Jack Reacher. But his movies are usually either really good or pretty forgettable. Tom Cruise has the sauce. And I think a lot of it has to do with intention and how much control you have over your project. Most of the movies on this list weren't made for anything more than some studio executive wondering if they can get more money out of their IP. But if someone says, hey, what if we made a Top Gun sequel? And Tom Cruise walks into the room, he's going to have some ideas, and Tom Cruise walks into the room, he's going to have some ideas on just how to make it as good as it possibly can be. When George Miller made Fury Road, he wanted to make it unlike the previous Mad Max movies, and he fucking did it. He also spent an insane amount of time making it as entertaining as possible for the audience. He re-edited the movie multiple times over to make sure the cuts between shots weren't jarring, so your eyes didn't have to wander around the screen in order to know what was going on. Effort was put in in a big way for these movies. In contrast, it's hard to know what real creative effort was put into Jurassic World. Mad Max and Top Gun don't feel like, hey, remember those other movies? You liked those, didn't you? Jurassic World just feels like marketing. And the best marketing is marketing you don't even notice is there. Like editing, cinematography, music, and UX on a TV or phone. If it's silent, it's a victory. Damn, there's a lot of bad movies out there. Did I miss anything? Did you disagree with me? Feel free to message me and challenge me with your own thoughts. Remember, don't let your friends watch bad movies. Be the trustworthy movie person in your friend group. Show up with hella good recommendations every time. Thanks for listening to Movielover22. Please leave it a review and tell your friends about it. Did you know you can do that? You can tell your friends about this show. That's cool. You can follow me on Letterboxd under the name Movie Lover Show, and you can send me any messages to movielovershow@gmail.com. Coming up next, The X-Files.